Let me continue. Okay. So said other lists. Okay. So let me say, let me add a H3 that says lists of fruits. Okay. Let me start mentioning mango, cashew, orange, have pawpaw, we have grape. All right, that's enough. Now let me go and let me add a horizontal line here. Demarcate H1 again. And another type is on ordered lists. On other lists, this is the type of list where they use bullets instead of numbers. So it is unordered. That's what we mean by unordered. It's not numbered. So let me just say list of cars. Okay. And how to create an ordered is to use UL. Then inside it, take the same thing list. Let's say Toyota. Okay, list of car models. Okay. Let's say Toyota, Mercedes. Let's say Honda. Let's say Volvo. Let's say Peugeot. I hope this is spelling. Okay, so let's actually view this. Now, as you can see, this is in a different file. This is in list.html. Okay, but in my browser, you're seeing table.html. Since they're in the same place, let me just switch and edit. Come here and edit lists.html. Voila. So as you can see, this is ordered list, the one that has numbering 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. On ordered list, the one without the numbering, list of car models, Toyota. So this is basically the major things you actually need to know about lists. Okay. So over to the next stuff we have is the form. Somehow you have actually done something on form without actually knowing, based on the homework I gave on Saturday, where you just had to work, you are working with inputs to enable users to input their data. But the difference is that that input actually needs to be in an enclosing format. So first things first, before I begin anything, I need to populate my HTML starter template. Once I do that, I give my title a page. I give my page a title, sorry. Let me call it my form, or yeah, let me call it, okay, let me call it survey form. Right, so this is the title. Okay, so now let me begin. Let me give it the H1, a heading, and say, okay, a survey form. Before I actually begin the form itself, okay, let me add a horizontal line here. And then I begin the form by simply typing form and hitting enter. VSC will complete it for me. Now it comes up with this action stuff. Now, this is actually where you are submitting the form. This has to do with the backend processes. So I wouldn't dive into that for now, so I'll just leave it blank. Now, inside the form, basically, what do we have in the forms? Now, let's look at the Republic. What do they have here? Forms. We have forms. Okay. So as you can see, you have your label and your input. This is basically, like I was saying, this is what you did. For those that submitted that showed me their homeworks that I saw when you did something about inputs. That's basically related to forms. So if you're creating a form that somebody will fill, that form have to be in a form tag. So I've created the form tag. What next? The label. Okay, the label. So let's say the first label is the name. So you're telling the person, okay, you have to put your name. Then you now create the input. Of course, name have to be input type of text. So I'll add another attribute called placeholder. For those that did their homeworks, did this placeholder. Let me say your name. Okay. Now let me add a line break here. Let me actually line two breaks before I create the next one. Label. Now, I'm not talking about this for attribute. This for attribute also have to do with the backend. So I can just come here and say name since it's label for the name. Now, this one will be label for the email. So I can come here and type email before I now add the input. Input type, it has a type of email. Just go and select email. This email comes with a name and an ID. So all these other attributes, you can actually delete them. That have to do with the backend stuff, or the IDs actually when you start styling. When we talk about styling proper, we'll discuss that. Now inside this, after the type of email, you can add another attribute placeholder again. Let's say here, okay, I'll just use an example. Example at test.com as the placeholder, so the person will know that this is an input field. Then add another line break, 2 line breaks, then added another label. Okay, so I'll call this one okay, gender. Good. Now this gender, label for gender, I want to use a different type of, we use a different type of inputs. Remember, inputs have different types. They have input type of, as you can see, checkbox, but I want to use radio. Look at it, radio. Input type of radio. Now, this input type of radio, there's how it functions. So let me add a line break here. In front of it, I will say mail. Okay. In front of it, I will come here and say mail. Then here, I'll say female. And then I'll add the input type of radio. Now, input type of radio is mainly used to when you want to select one particular something. So I will come here and say gender and gender. I can delete this. I can delete this. Okay, so far, let me actually view what we have done.
So before you view,
Someone was actually trying to say something. Please come again. I didn't get you. Hello. Hello. Can you guys hear me? Hello.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, you are saying something. What?
Yes, sir. Sorry, sir. I know, like I said before, me, I'm on the road, but I'm just trying to catch up, sir.
Okay.
Please, sir. If there is on that, on the coding, on the source code part,
Yeah.
the design part, you have this thing open, action open. And that action open, you open an open quote, and there was nothing inside.
Yeah.
So, well, may I know why you left the quotation, the double quote open, sir?
Okay. Probably you didn't hear when I mentioned that. I said this action here basically is where you are submitting the form. It has to do with the form processing, which is the backend stuff. So since we are not actually processing the form, that's why I left it blank. So if we are processing the form, I can come here and put where we are going to process it. Okay, let me just say pro.php. Because of course, for you to actually process it, it has to be a backend language that you use. So let me say I have a file here called pro.php, or rather pro.php. So it means that this is where I'm going to process this form. So that action takes you to where you want to process the form. I left it blank because this has to do with the back end. So you're not dealing with the back end form processing. That's why I left it blank. So I hope that is okay.
Clear, sir.
Okay. All right.
Yes, sir.
So now to actually view that, this is a list.html. So let me go to form.html. Form.html. Let's actually view. Now, as you can see, this is the name, this is the email, this name is the label, and this is the input. As you can see, there is a kind of small write-up inside your name. That is the placeholder. Once you start typing, it clears. That's the attribute placeholder. Now, this gender, as you can see, I have my radius. I can only select one. I can't select multiple. So either you are a male or you are a female. Okay, let me actually bring this down so that they won't be in the same line. How do I do that? Of course, you know that I can use BR tag line break to actually break it down. So let me make it 2. All right, save, now refresh. So you can see now, male, you're either a male or you're a female. Okay, so now as you can see, if I click this and try to click this, I can only select one. That is what radio does. Now let me actually add another form. This one now have to do with, I will use checkbox, so you notice the difference between checkbox and radio. So let's say this one is, okay, let's say hobbies, we call it this hobbies. Of course, say hobbies. Okay, inputs, let's select checkbox. Let's say swimming. Sorry, let me remove this ID. In the name, I can come here and put swimming. Okay. Now to actually duplicate this to save time, I'll just copy, paste, paste, paste. All right, let me change this one from swimming to, let's say, dancing. Let's say gaming. And let's running. Okay. Now let's view this and let's check something. Okay, let me actually use line break to separate them, to put them in different lines. So I come here and put line break. 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 All right. So now let's refresh. Now they are all in different lines. Okay, let me bring this one down, the swimming. Line break. All right, it's good. Oh, I didn't save. Okay, so let's say hobbies. I can come here and select. You see that I can select multiple. I can select multiple. That's the difference between radio and checkbox. Now, what made radio, this radio now, behave this way? If you notice here, in the name, I gave it the same name, gender, gender. So it simply means gender has to be one. It cannot be a male and still be a female. No, you must select one. So their name should be the same. So either you're a gender for male or you're a gender for female. If I should give it different name, I can now select the two of them. Okay, let me say, call this one gender 2. See what will happen now. I can actually select, let me refresh this. I can actually select the two of them, you see. But if I want to select only one of them, the best is to give it the same name. So basically, when you want to select one particular something, you can use radio. Now, there is another type of select that you can use in filling forms, and that one is called select itself. Okay, let me add the label. Let me call it nationality. We'll come here and type country. Now, it should be inside, wait, I've forgotten which one should be first, whether it's select or options. Let's scroll down. I think I should see somewhere. Let's select on options. Good, yeah, here it is. So it selects and then the options. You have to select the name. Of course, what I want to select is country. Then inside here, of course, I can remove the ID. I'm not styling yet. So inside here, we have options. So it's like providing option. So either you are Nigerian or you are, so let's say NG stands for first value, Nigeria. So let me just duplicate these to 4 places and change this to Ghana. Ghana is Kenya. And let's say Libya. Okay, Ghana value, I can say GH. Now, this value can be anything. I'm just the one deciding this. You can actually decide whatever value you want to give it. But this value have to do with the package. When you start processing the backend, how you want to save it in the database. But that is not the scope of this course. So this is another option, another type of field, form field you can use. Let's refresh, look at it. Country, see, I have Ghana, Kenya. Let me actually give more space there. Let me add more here. Yeah, good. Let me add space, let's see. Fresh. Okay. So country, we have this, Nigeria, Ghana, Libya, options. So you can actually select anyone you want. So this is another type of form field that we have. We have another one. Maybe let's say you want to upload a document. So let me add a line break. Let me add a line break here. Double it. Let's create another label. Let me call it a file. Let's say I want to upload file. So there is an input for it. Call it input type of file. So search, scroll down and look for input type of file. So and give it a name. Let's say my file. Anything you want to call it, it's your choice. Just have to do with the backend processing. Okay, so let me refresh. As you can see upload file. Because of that type file, all these things comes out. You can actually go and select any file you want to upload, any document you want to upload. So that is it. Of course, I won't start to fill all of them. With time, when you go through this, you practice all of them, all the different types you can use when creating a form. Okay, so now the next one we'll talk about here is we talked about tables, we talked about lists, we talked about forms, links. Good, links. Okay, let me create a file for links. Let me call link.html. Okay, the normal routine. First things first, you have to populate. Just bring your exclamation mark, select the first one, hit enter. Let me reiterate again for those that maybe are still confused about this. That's another one way. Another way is type HTML. Your VSC, just select HTML5 to pop up. This is your HTML template. Starter, we call it starter template because that's what starts your page. Now, let me give it the title, link page. All right, so let me say H1, link page, link pages, okay? So now, how do you link pages? How do you link pages? The main anchor, the main thing that helps you link pages is this element called anchor, A. Once you select this, it comes with href. Good. This href means where you are referencing. It takes you to where you are referencing. So if I come inside this href now, if I put https google.com, and then inside here I will type go to Google. Now this is what link is all about. That when I click go to Google, it will go and open this place for me. Okay, so let's actually see this in practice. Survey form, I'm no longer in form. I'm trying to test out my link. So I go to link, open it up, you see, go to Google. You see that the write-up is appearing with an underline. That underline is what tells that this is actually a link. So if I click on it, to take me to Google page, you see? But notice that the Google page is opening on the same place I have this. So it's like opening on this same tab. So if I wanted to open on a new tab, there are attributes I can add to this. So remember where you add attributes. You add attributes in the opening tag. This href is already an attribute. So add another attribute called target. So target is the attribute that tells you where do you want this thing to open. I want it to open on a new tab. So I'll select _blank, the first option, _blank. So it will open on a new page. So let me refresh here. See, watch this tab. this tab is still here. It will open it, it will open a new tab and get that. See, this page is still here. It opened a new tab for me to go to this coco.com. So now, what I will do in this link page now, let me link my other pages so that I will be navigating to the other pages from here. Okay, so let me call this one. Let me create this one. I want to link to form so that if I click on it, I'll go to form. So I'll type form.html. Now, look at the difference. href here, I'm going to google.com. I put in the link to Google. So here, I'm not going to any external link. Instead, I want to go to a file I have here. The name of that file is form.html. I just put the name inside this href. Then here, I will have to write go to form. Okay, then I'll add my line break. And then the anchor again, I want to go to lists.html. Okay, this one will be called go to list. All right, let me add my break and then create the anchor again. This one I want to go to table. I'll call it table.html. Go to table. I also want to go to, I'll create anchor. I want to go to index.html. I'll come here, index.html. Go to index. So this anchor is what helps you link different pages. Like if you click on this place, I want you to go to this place. It provides you with a clickable link. So that once you click on it, it takes you to a certain place. This is possible via this anchor tag. This anchor tag. Look at it here. Anchor. Let me create it without the. So look at it here. This is the element anchor. But what actually makes it possible is this attribute. The attributes, this attribute called href is what makes it possible. This is what tells it, okay, this is where I want to go to. If you click me, this is where I want to go to. Your target, the place you want to go to. Okay, so now remember, if I want this, the way these things are, now if I click on them, they will open on the same tab. So if I want it to be opening on a different tab, I can just add this attribute underscore blank. You go to Tutorial Republic, you read about the other options like under parent and so on. So let me refresh and see. Go to Google, go to form, go to list, go to table. So let me go back to my form. Oh, I clicked on go to, sorry. I clicked on go to list. So go to form. See, I've gone to my form. When you click on go to table, I've gone to the table. You see that it's opening a new tabs. That's because of that underscore blank. Go to index. That's gone to an index. So you see? So that is links for you. That is links. Okay. Now you can ask, okay, why is this place, this one now, this my table have this background color of red? Now, if you can remember this CSS, where I did something like this body, start body, and give it a background color of red. And I linked it here in my table. So all these other ones don't have it because they were not linked. So let me go to lists. Let's see, did I link here? Yes, I linked it in list. Let's go to form. Did I link it in form? No. So I can come here and link my CSS. Can come here and link my CSS. Just type link and select CSS. Now change the href, this href again. See, telling me the file I want to link to is men.css. So that is all. I save. Which other place in the link page as well? Let me link my CSS. Change this to main.css. That is all. Let me refresh now. Okay. The only place I did not link that background is this index. And why? Why did I not link it? Look at this index. As you can see, that was when I was just showing you kind of summary of what we did last Saturday, which was just how to create tags and elements. Now, this one, we did not actually use the starter template, which is actually important. So this is actually wrong. We don't write HTML codes this way. You must put them inside a starter template, which is this. I've explained this. The doc type, the HTML, the head section, and the body section. The body section is where we put in all the things that we actually want our viewers to see on the body of the page. Now, let me actually maybe talk a little about this CSS, because since it's already here, and probably for you to actually practice your table, you actually need to maybe have a little understanding of CSS. CSS stands for Cascading Styling Sheet. Cascading Style Sheet. It is used to actually style or design or maybe beautify your page. Okay? To beautify your page. So, how do we go about? What are the principal parts of this CSS? Now, there are things to note. Let me come to this index page and write a comment. CSS. Oh, sorry. CSS cascading style sheets, or cascading styling sheets, what you want to call it. Now, it has two major parts. It has what we call the selector, the declaration. Wait, let me do it line by line. I have the selector, declaration, then the property, and values. These are the major four principal parts of CSS, when you are styling CSS. Now, let me actually use these as an example. What I did, let's say background. Okay, let me just copy this. Go back to index.html, paste it, so you can see. Now, this body is what we call the selector. Because we are selecting the body tag. Look at these elements. We are selecting everything in the body of the page. That's what we mean by selector. We are selecting the body. So after selecting, what next? We declared. This is declaration. Declaration is everything inside these curly brackets, which is from here to here. Everything inside this is called the declaration. Now, the property is this background. Background is a property, and then it has a value. What value did we give that background? Red. So these are the principal parts of CSS. The selector, once you select what you want to style, I want to style the body, you declare it. After declaring it, you now start adding the things you want to add. Of course, a declaration can have multiple properties and values. So I can come here and add and give margin and say 4 pixels. This is a measurement. Width, come here and give it a width. and say width, and come and say 100%. All these things inside here, this is a property and this is the value. This is a property and this is a value. This is a property and this is a value. So basically, property is more like you now. If I say you are tall, these things are properties. You are properties that we are using it to actually define you. Okay, you are tall, which means you have a height. You have width, the color, maybe you are white in complexion and dark in complexion. You can see it as a kind of an attribute or properties of a person. So the properties of, you have actually, once you have an element, you want to style it, you give it properties. Of course, every element, every item, or every human being, everything has properties. A table have a property. A table, the properties of a table can either be the table, the height of it. Now I'm not talking about HTML table. No, I'm talking about the normal furniture table. The table can either be big, it can be round, it can be square in shape, it can be rectangular, it can be the height can have a very high height, it can be short. All these things are properties. So once you select and declare, next thing is to start adding properties and their values, the values you want to give to them. So what we did here was that we selected the body and said, okay, body have a background of red. Okay, let me change this background color now to something else. Let's say something like this. Okay, so what it means now that I'm telling the background color to change. Let me go to this. So it's no longer going to be red. I've changed it to something else, you see? So I'm giving it a different value, the body. So what we did on this table was that once you create a normal table, it doesn't have any line or anything. So we gave the table TB, TH, and TD. Okay, let me remove this one. Let me comment this one out and refresh on the table so you see something. See? Now, what we did here was to add padding to it. So that padding, we can actually add it here instead of adding in another stuff. Let's see, padding, pixel. See, now this table has it. So if I want to remove this outer border, that outer line, I can simply remove these. Maybe in our next class, I'll talk about types of selectors we have. Now, what we are doing here, remember here, we just selected body, but here we are selecting multiple things. We are selecting the TH and we are selecting the TD. Look at the table elements. We are selecting this TH and we are selecting the TD. So, and what we are saying is this, that this table, this TH and TD, give it a border. Border is a line. So give it a border, a line at the four corner, one solid black. So that is why the line is black. See, I've removed the other line because of that table. So if I want to change this color now, if I don't want that line to be black, I want it to be white. Very simple. Come here, change the color. Change the color. If I refresh here, see, the color has changed. So if I want to make the line bolder, of course, that has to do with the width of the border. I can make it 5 pixels. Refresh. See, it's now bolder. So we simply added that to actually arrange this in columns. So you see that it's actually